So here we are at the helm of the M242. You've got great digital display giving you all the information that you need. Kind of got your auxiliary screen here on the port side for your stereo, your lights, heater, that sort of thing. Your main screen for all your boat controls, filling up the ballast, changing your wedge, things like that. You have your sport rotary knob here to the right, helps control volume quickly and easily, surf gate quickly and easily, and then also wedge. I've got my helm power seat up and down, and then I've got stern turn right here on my throttle. The port side auxiliary screen controls your stereo, all your lights, all your switching, and then you also have a little Android panel here. You can download apps onto the boat, things of that nature if you wish. Music tab, press the power button to power up your music. It's going to start up. Then you can choose your source of music you'd like to listen to as well. So if you want to listen to FM, AM, Bluetooth, plug in an aux, USB, or you can get the weather channel. You'll have volume control right here, up and down. You can also use the sport rotary knob to turn your volume up and down. If I press the speaker button here, it's going to allow me to individually adjust the subwoofer, interior, bow, or tower speakers. So just a quick way to do that. I can mute the music right here. So if I'm pulling up to a rider, it's a little loud, I can just press the button real quick, and then it's automatically going to mute the music right there, which is great. I can then, if I wanted to pair a new device, I would just hit pair, and then now it becomes discoverable. When I hit the page button, that's just going to bring up the page of all the devices that you could pair up to. Previous track, or start the track over, pause, next track right here. I can go back to the source menu right here on the bottom. Equalizer, it's going to be able to just do some default kind of bass and treble ranges, things like that. This is where I could also control the balance from left to right. And then I have this mixer tab. Again, this is where I could go in and adjust the sub, tower, bow, and interior volumes. This is also where I have my auto volume. Auto volume will automatically bring the music volume up or down based on throttle. So as I go faster, it'll automatically turn up the volume. As I slow down, it will automatically turn the volume down. So again, you have to actually have that turned up, just like that, to be able to adjust that. Going into my lighting menu right here, I can turn on my nav lights. It'll automatically turn on the anchor light up top. My interior lights are just kind of shining down into the boat a little bit. Inside the storage compartments has some lighting. My docking lights off the front of the boat. They also have a high beam mode, so you have two modes right there with the LED lights off the front. My underwater lights are on and off. I have a 360 tower light, so I can actually shine light forward, shine light backwards, or an all-around light, which is pretty cool. And then the overhead lights in the tower can turn on and off as well. RGB light control, so if you want to change up the lights in the boat, you can do so. Change the brightness, depending upon which zone you want to have that change in as well. You could also have it cycle through colors, so I could go through like just bright tones or secondary tones. You could also get it to sync up to your music, which is pretty cool. Going over into my switching tab here, I can turn on and off the tower mister and the sun deck mister, manually control my forward bilge and my rear bilge, heater for the boat, so these are the outlets in the boat, my seat heater, and then the blower for the engine compartment as well. I can also lock the auxiliary display in the boat as well. Last screen is the Android screen. Like I mentioned, you can download apps on here, such as Spotify, things like that. And also you can just normally, if you wanted to, just play via Bluetooth off your phone. The last button on here is the settings button here in the bottom. This is where you can go in and change, like if we need to do a software update at the shop, if you want to change your backlighting, display intensity, language, and then also I can go into appearance and I can change like what kind of my accent color on the helm actually is. So just some customization with that. When you go into configuration, this is where you can go into your units, turn on a depth alarm, temperature offset, time zone, things like that. Diagnostics, this will be if you need to check things out or if you're having some trouble with the boat, the technicians might be able to kind of walk you through on what we need to see first of all, but this is kind of where we'll go to check things out. And then this is where if there's too many Bluetooth devices, you could go on here and you could actually remove those. So for example, I could click on that one and then hit remove to take those if there's a lot of Bluetooth devices stored in the boat. So here on the main screen, this is where you control actual like boating functions. So at the bottom here, you have your 5 selections. I have a ballast view, Next one over is my preset view. This is going to display kind of what the bottom of the lake looks like, and also your depth will appear there when you're in the water. Got my camera view, so I could pull up if I wanted to just look at my backup camera, or I could even make it larger. And then last but not least is this little dial indicator. This is where you're going to be able to find engine hours, give you a look of your engine oil pressure, engine coolant temperature, as well as your battery voltage, and have RPM and speed kind of in here as well. This boat also has the rudder indicator, so as I turn the wheel, it's going to show me which direction the rudder is going. So with these different displays on the bottom, you're just adjusting what's in the middle of the screen, but on the outside is what kind of stays the same. So I've got RPM and speed right here. I could also press this RPM button to get it to display speed instead of RPM. So just kind of what you want to see there. Fuel level, and then RPM is right there. And the RPM will always just be displayed here. What you're changing is just the outside function right here. Over on the right-hand side, this is where I have the ability to change surf gate by the touchscreen. I can change the wedge position, and then it's going to give me always a view of how full my ballast tanks are in the boat as well. As I go around the perimeter of the screen, I'll have depth in the top left corner here when you're in the water, oil pressure for the engine coolant temperature and battery voltage as well. Tell you what time it is, going to give you outside and water temperature, compass setting, sensor setting, telling you if you've got good satellite reception, and which we don't right now because it's saying we're inside the warehouse. I also have this docking feature right here. This is going to kind of desensitize the throttle mapping or throttle response. So as you're coming into dock, if you tend to have a slip which requires you to use some throttle, I encourage you to use this. That way you're not giving it too much throttle when you're operating in closed conditions. Last but not least is this go home button. If I've got a preset on, say for example surf left, all the ballast is full, my surf gates are ready to go out, cruise control's turned on, and my wedge is into the appropriate position, the go home button will empty all the ballast automatically, put the surf gates away, put the wedge away, and turn off your cruise control so you're ready to literally just head home. On the ballast screen here in the middle, I could select tanks individually, and I could say how full I want them, or I could select a tank and say, hey, just stop that one, or I could just go fill until it's all the way full, or drain until it's all the way empty. If I don't have any tanks selected, it's going to do all the tanks together. Again, this is a manual operation if you want to fiddle around with some of the ballast tank levels and things like that. If I go into my presets right here, this is where these are already preset from Malibu. These are just the defaults. And this, when you select, say for example, surf left and hit load, all the parameters within this preset get loaded onto the boat. For example, if you actually click edit, you could name the preset whatever you would like. You can then select a little icon image. If you're setting up a surfing preset, you want to surf on the left or right side of the boat, setting the speed for that preset, what the ballast levels you want them to be for that particular setting, the wedge position, and then you could also select an auto volume level for that preset as well. And then you can hit finish, and that will save it. You do have a ton of options to actually go and put in however many presets you want in there, or you could just take the default factory ones and just start customizing your own and things like that from there. Lake view is what I kind of refer to this as. Again, it'll kind of show what the bottom of the lake or the waterway that you're in or river it looks like, and show depth right here. Video, and last but not least, like I showed you, it shows you the hour meter and things like that on the big screen. This is your sport rotary dial here on the starboard side at the helm. I have physical buttons to change my surf gate side, physical buttons to adjust the wedge. This knob right here, turn it left to right, will adjust the volume. Pushing it in will mute the music. Tabbing it up and down, if I have cruise control on, will actually change my cruise control speed setting. Left to right will go next track or previous track or start the track over. So a quick, easy guy right here with some physical buttons. Power helm seat control, so I can raise or lower the seat up and down, which is really nice. Then I've got my throttle right here. I've got a button for stern turn. If I push it down, it's going to swing the stern to the right side. If I push it up, it's going to swing the stern over to the port side. And on the front side of the throttle, I've got this little button that puts it into neutral only. This is for when the guys at the shop are servicing the boat, they can just rev the engine just a little bit, without the propeller spinning when they're servicing the boat. So down here on the right side of the helm, I've got my aux inputs as well as a 12-volt USB here at the top. Push style little breakers in case it overloads the circuit, say for like the shower or the helm seat or the horn or things like that. Then you still actually have a physical ignition key. This is your manual emergency override. You can turn it on to actually turn the boat on if your touchpad isn't working or your start-stop button isn't working or your power button's not working. Do not turn this on and use the touchpad at the same time. You'll notice that your anchor light and your navigation lights will always stay on if that's the case. Do kind of just keep this in the off position, or better yet, find a hiding spot in the boat for the key. That way when if you ever encounter an emergency where, again, the touchscreen isn't working or some of your buttons isn't working, you know where the key is, can put that in, fire up the boat, and make it back to the dock. You also have your safety lanyard located right here as well. If you're in the boat by yourself, just a good idea to wear that. If you do fall in the boat or anything like that, that'll pull a little switch and it'll turn the engine off right where the boat is.